for the listener's sake and to kind of like put things into perspective and level out that intro, I read somewhere that when you were first starting out and you thought about this business, I'd love to know like the origin story of about how it got started. And is it true that you were literally making chocolate dicks in your garage in those early days?
So yeah, to quickly answer that, the latter part of that question, yes, I um, for about a year we were qualified as a cottage business, or that was how I licensed it because you'll get to it. I'll get to it here in the origin story, I guess, but I never thought this was going to be anything that really went anywhere. I used it as first a joke for my buddies, and then secondly, kind of as like a testing ground because I've always been really interested in D2C e-commerce, selling online. But yeah, I was definitely in my chocolate factory in the garage, and it was like a little 10-pound chocolate tempering machine, which is how you actually make chocolate snap and like make it nice and shiny. And I remember the first like holiday season where I was actually busy. I think I was making chocolate in there for about a 2-week period, like 20 to 22 hours a day, just stuck in there, just like cranking out chocolate because it was only 10 pounds that I could make at a time. And so I was like constantly, I had these big chocolate melters. It was an absolute disaster. And my wife, well, she was my girlfriend then. It put things on thin ice. I will say that. But yeah, I guess the origin story. I alluded to it there. Where it was this. It started as a joke. I went to a wedding this was 2016 or 17. I went to a wedding in Des Moines, Iowa. I grew up in Iowa, and my buddy was living in Colorado, and I was like, "Hey, I'll ride with you to Denver, and then I'll take a flight to California," because he was driving back home. And as guys in our early to mid 20s, you'd stop at random places on the road, and we stopped in Lincoln, Nebraska, at a random sex shop. We got lunch, and then he's like, "Oh, let's go in here. It'll be funny. Let's look at the dildos and the porno mags and whatever." And I found a mold, and I was like, "Oh, this would be hilarious to send to make chocolate dicks and send it to my buddies in California." And that's like the origin story. I melted chocolate chips on a stove, made one, threw it in a Uline box, just like a standard cardboard box, and like was putting it in my buddies' mailboxes here in San Diego or in Pacific Beach. As Giovanni was just, we were talking to Giovanni before this. He was just there. So, Pacific Beach is a small little town. So I kind of rode my bike around and just like slapped it in mailboxes. One thing led to another. I made a website to make it seem like it was a real company. And then just on a whim, basically just threw up a shopping cart to see, because I was interested in e-commerce. I was like, how does this all work? And like first or second or third day, I got an order, and I was like, oh, okay, I have to figure out how to send this to somebody. And I guess you could say that's kind of the rest is history after that. I mean, it was a couple years before I actually like was doing any type of volume, but that is the origin story of Dick at Your Door.